Hello and welcome back to the 10-Minute Teach. This spring 2021, my name is Jill Tiny, in case you'd forgotten. So we're looking at collaboration this month and we're looking at mindset specifically. So you will have heard week 1, we were talking about generosity of spirit. And last week we looked at sense of adventure and a sense of fun as well. And this week I'd like to consider whether you have a mindset around free thinking and also whether you have a creative mindset. Now, free thinking is a practice and a skill because it's so easy and we're kind of trapped. All of us are trapped in this state of thinking in the same ways. And to be able to think slightly off-piste and in a different way will release us into finding new solutions to the problems that are in front of us. It could be a problem with tech, it could be a problem with relationship, it could be a problem with communication, it could be a problem with finance. Whatever the problem is, there's usually a way around it. But if you think of A and B, there's not very many solutions. In reality, there is always that and that and that and that and that. And sometimes it needs somebody else to open Pandora's box and let all the possibility come out. There's the alternative problem. You can have too many choices to look at, but if you have a spirit of free thinking and you're able to see that from another person's perspective, it will open up the door for you to have successful collaborations. So, for example, if you can see somebody is stuck in a rut, it might be worthwhile saying to them, what if? Just give them that option. What if you could ABC? What if you had all the money in the world? What if you didn't have to worry about Fred, who's putting a block on everything? What if, what if, what if? And it just gives you that opportunity to ponder, to see things from a potential perspective rather than, oh, it's never going to work. Being a radiator and not a drain, as the saying goes, being that person that can see all the possibility and help people to kind of open their minds a little bit to it. So not only have you got to be free thinking, but again, with the generosity of spirit, you've got to help other people be free thinking as well. What if it looks different to that? How might that feel? Get them to engage with their gut feeling. And then when they've got to that space, then you can start to be creative. And those creative juices can flow when there is no condemnation in the room, there is no ego in the space, there is no blame, no negativity. Creativity can flourish. And that's what we want for any collaboration, because it's those things that nobody's thought of before, those oh my goodness moments, the blinding flash of the obvious, the BFO. That's when creativity can go bonkers. Because if you always do what you've always done, you always get what you always got. We know this, don't we? So being allowed to be creative in a collaboration means that you need to release, get rid of all those other things I just said, the blame, the denial, the ego, so that you feel free and have that freedom to think in a different way. So they go hand in hand. This ability to free think and the ability to be creative cannot occur, or it's very difficult for them to occur naturally and at their full potential if there are all those other things in the way. As I say, if you've got an ego in the room and somebody's going, well, that's ridiculous, why would you do that? It's really hard. Your free thinking shrinks. Your creativity goes, maybe I'll do it later. And you're not able to get into that space of, oh, what if we could, but maybe, what? And when that energy is flowing, you have 20 different ideas and maybe 3 of them will coalesce to be the perfect solution. And you don't know what they will be until you have that open-hearted, open-minded, creative, anything goes, free thinking space, which is when real collaborations, that's when some of the magic comes out, when you have that space. And you might have heard me tell the story before, and I'll tell it again because it's worth saying, when one of our members asked us if we had the ISO in collaborative relationships, collaborative working relationships. 44,001, I believe. And I said no, and he said, would you like me to help you get it? And we said, thank you very much, that would be great. So he and I worked on it for probably 2 months, off and on. And it was a struggle. I found it really difficult. I couldn't see what he was getting at. It was too stringent and detailed for me. I felt like I was ticking boxes, which never felt right to me. And it wasn't until the third person came in and said, well, what if we do it this way? Let's try this. And she was able to take what he needed, translate it into Jill speak. I could then just talk and evolve and share what I thought was a solution around this. She then took it and put it into his speak, and he was able to complete the documentation, and we got the ISO. And I believe we were one of the first SMEs to get that ISO. And the magic was that because we worked together and created something so special, other people were informed of how we worked collaboratively, and it informed the standard. Because the guy that did the audit said that, well, you're not just ticking boxes, you're actually living the experience of working collaborative relationships. And we're like, yeah, that's what we do. So he was able to change and tweak his British standard, which then became the international standard. So with a space of trust and love, we can be creative, we can try new things, we can be free thinking, we can let our minds connect with our hearts, and anything is possible. And again, as I said on week 1, if you are in a collaboration and everybody else in that collaboration, whether it's 2 other people, 10 other people, however many, if they haven't experienced the culture of Collaboration Global, then you are the expert on collaboration in that space. Because you've watched these 10-minute teachers, you've been part of the meetings, you've understood what the culture is, you've done the orientation, you've been through some of the training, you understand the essence of what makes a really good collaboration. So you understand the power of free thinking, and creativity can only survive in a positive, encouraging space. A space where there's a sense of adventure, natural curiosity, generosity of spirit, courage, vulnerability, all of the others as well. But you need to percolate, if that's the right expression. You need to create this space where free thinking and creativity can truly survive and thrive. And that's when collaborations truly make their mark, because they become more than the sum of their parts. And that's ultimately what we're about. 3 people or more get together and create something that nobody actually anticipated and nobody saw coming. It was a revelation. It's like, well, who would have thought that would have happened? I never planned that. That's the magic. That's the bit that everybody really wants, because it creates something that will live beyond what you were planning to do. So very quickly, there is a story written by the Braffman brothers in a book called The Click, which I refer to often. Please read it. It's an amazing book. And as scientists, they were trying to generate a click when people get together and they feel connected. They feel there's a chemistry. They're not sure what it is, but we get on so well. And you can identify it as values. You can identify it as serving a similar purpose. But they did an experiment to try and generate it. And what they did is they took 3 people and they gave them a project, and these 3 people had similar qualifications, similar experience. They had a certain time frame, and they had to finish the project within that time frame together, which they did. Job done. Great. Awesome. They generated another 3 people, same project, same qualifications, same experience, but they orchestrated a click. They worked on things like values. They worked on things like purpose. They worked on things like generosity of spirit, free thinking, curiosity, creativity, all of those things. And they gave them the same project. Not only did they finish it ahead of schedule, far ahead of schedule, but they also went above and beyond what they had been asked to do, because they were having fun, they were enjoying the process, they loved working together. They didn't see it as a chore. They worked outside of hours because they were enjoying it so much, and they wanted to prove that there was more to it. They had this open, creative space that they were able to completely fill with ideas and possibility. And that's what you can create when you free think. You have that mindset of free thinking, you have that mindset of creativity. And when you bring that to the table and other people don't understand the power of that, you can bring that to them as well. And you then become a valued member of that team. And as always, don't forget, this works in all of your relationships as well. All right, if you're having an argument with somebody, just press the pause button and say, look, what if anything could happen? What would be an ideal scenario that we'd both walk away happy? How could we be creative in this conversation to bring a resolution? How could we free think into a different space? What would somebody else do? How would somebody else approach it? How can we solve this situation? And you can do it in so many different ways. And sometimes having that generosity of spirit where you go, actually, I hear what you're saying and I understand it, and I'm going to back down, and I don't mind, you do what you want to do, that's fine. That's showing true generosity of spirit, and also shows that you're a free thinker, because it will serve you in the future as well. So this is week 3 of the 10-minute teach around collaboration and around mindsets. You've just been hearing about free thinking and creativity, 2 essential mindsets that you want to cultivate when you do collaborations in the future, whichever way they may be. I'll see you next week. Take care.